Let's start with the single most damaging belief that keeps beginners stuck. When the online income doesn't come, most people look inward. They tell themselves they aren't smart enough, not consistent enough, not good enough with tech. They look at people who are already making money and build a story about why those people are different, why they have something you don't. That conclusion is wrong. And here's why it matters: it stops you from looking at the actual problem. The people winning online are not more intelligent or more disciplined by nature. What they have, almost without exception, is a clear system that they found, understood, and executed consistently long enough for it to produce results. Think of it this way: if you wanted to build a house and someone handed you a hammer, some nails, and a pile of wood, but never gave you a blueprint, you wouldn't walk away thinking you were bad at building. You'd know nobody gave you a plan. That's exactly what's happening in the make money online space. People are handed tools and told to go figure it out. The moment you stop making this about your personal worth and start making it about your strategy, you become someone who can actually solve the problem. Reason number one: you're solving the wrong problem. Here's how this plays out in real life. Week one, someone researches which niche to go into. Week two, they pick the right platform. Week three, they design a logo, choose colors, set up social media accounts. Week four, they consume more content about what the next right move should be. A full month passes. They have a logo, a profile, a folder full of notes, and absolutely no way to make a single dollar because they never built anything to sell. The problem they were solving the entire time was the problem of feeling prepared, feeling ready, feeling like the foundation was solid enough to build on. And that feeling is extremely comfortable compared to the discomfort of actually putting something out into the world and seeing how real people respond. But feeling prepared is not the same as being prepared. In business, the only preparation that matters ends with something to offer someone. The beginners who figure this out make a different decision. They stop consuming long enough to build one thing, one product, one service, one offer of any kind. They put it into the market before it's perfect because the market will tell them what needs improving faster than any amount of preparation ever will. Here is the formula that changes everything when you really let it land. You cannot make money online without something to sell. That's the whole game. Everything else, the content, the audience, the platform, the funnel, all of it exists for one purpose: to move people toward an offer. Without the offer at the center, you're building a machine with no engine. So here's the simple equation. On one side, you have your content, your audience, and your platform. Those three things work together to direct attention toward your offer, and the offer itself is what converts that attention into revenue. No offer, no revenue. It's that direct. The practical takeaway is this: build your offer first, even if it's ugly, even if it's simple, even if you're embarrassed to show it. An imperfect offer in the market is infinitely more valuable than a perfect one still being planned. Your first version will teach you more in 1 week than 6 months of preparation ever could. Reason number two is the confidence trap. Most people wait to feel confident before they act. They want to feel ready before they post, before they sell, before they put themselves out there. But here's the thing: confidence is not a prerequisite, it's a byproduct. It works in a chain. First, you act, you take the scary step. Then you discover that the outcome is survivable. The world did not end. That experience becomes evidence, real proof that you can do this thing. And only after that evidence do you actually feel confident. Action leads to survival. Survival leads to evidence. Evidence leads to confidence. Never the other way around. Here's what this looks like in real life. Imagine someone who spends 6 months building their business entirely in their head. They rewrite their product 3 times, redesign their bio twice, and change their content strategy 4 times. But after 6 months, the number of real customers who have seen any of this work is zero. They replace the scary work of putting something in front of real people with the comfortable work of planning. The cure is simple: pick a date, commit to releasing something by that date no matter how unfinished it feels, and follow through. The moment you realize that putting something imperfect out into the world is survivable, that's when genuine confidence starts to form. Reason number three: chasing multiple models at the same time. 1 week it's drop shipping, then affiliate marketing, then crypto, then coaching. The beginner bounces from model to model, never staying long enough to see if any of them actually works. And here's the part that matters: most online business models require 60 to 90 days of focused, consistent execution before they produce meaningful results. That's because the compound effect does not show up in week 2 or 3. It starts appearing somewhere between week 8 and week 12, provided you stay consistent. So here's what happens: a beginner picks a model, works on it for 2 or 3 weeks, sees very little return, and interprets that lack of return as evidence that the model doesn't work. So they switch. And when they switch, they restart the clock, day one again, month one again, and they never reach that 8 to 12 week window where the effort finally starts compounding. The pattern looks the same every time: foundation phase for the first 30 days, where you're building the basics; traction phase from day 31 to 60, where you start seeing small signals; and finally, the compounding results phase from day 61 to 90, where the work from the first 2 months starts multiplying. Beginners who stick with one model through all 3 phases are the ones who actually see results. Reason number 4: you have tactics but no system. This is a subtle but massive distinction. A tactic is something you do in isolation: post a reel, send a DM, write an email, run an ad. Any single tactic might produce a result, but that result is random, unpredictable. You never know which shot is going to land. A system is different. A system is the complete end to end sequence that takes a complete stranger and moves them step by step toward becoming a paying customer. You put content in at one end, people move through the process, and sales come out the other end. It's a machine. Here's the problem most beginners face: they learn one tactic from one creator, another tactic from a different creator, and a third tactic from yet another source. Each tactic works in isolation, but they were never designed to connect. So the beginner ends up with a collection of random actions that don't flow into each other. They're doing the right things, but in the wrong order or with missing pieces between them. Building a system means connecting 4 specific stages: an entry point where people first encounter you, a trust path that builds enough understanding for them to see your value, a clear offer positioned for the right person to say yes, and a follow up process that turns a one time buyer into a repeat customer. When all 4 are connected, making money stops being a mystery and starts being a predictable process. Let's walk through those 4 system components in detail, because this is the blueprint that actually makes online income predictable. Component 1: the entry point. This is where people first find you. It could be a social media post, a search result, a referral from a friend, a podcast appearance. The entry point is the front door. Without it, nobody even knows you exist. Component 2: the trust path. Once someone walks through your front door, they need a reason to stay. This is a deliberate sequence that builds trust and demonstrates your value. It might be a series of emails, several pieces of content, or a free resource that solves a small problem for them. The trust path answers the question: why should I listen to you? Component 3: the clear offer. This is where the transaction happens. The offer must be positioned clearly enough that the right person immediately recognizes its value and knows how to say yes. A confusing offer stops the entire system cold. Component 4: follow up. Most beginners think the sale is the finish line, but the real money is in what happens after. A follow up process deepens the relationship and turns a one time buyer into someone who buys from you again and again. Repeat customers are where the compounding growth lives. If any one of these 4 pieces is missing, the machine breaks. The entry point might generate traffic that never converts because there's no trust path, or the trust path builds great relationships that never lead anywhere because there's no clear offer. Beginners fail not because they're doing nothing, but because they're only working on 1 or 2 pieces of a 4 part puzzle. Reason number 5 is the most frustrating one because it feels completely unfair. It's called the invisible phase. Here's what it is: you're doing everything right. You're posting consistently, you're refining your offer, you're reaching out to people, you're building your system piece by piece, but the numbers are still tiny: no sales, no signups, no visible momentum. And here's the cruel part: from the inside, doing the right things with no results yet looks exactly like failing. There is no internal signal that tells you the difference between doing the right things that haven't had time to work and doing the wrong things that will never work. They feel identical. So, what happens? Beginners quit. They abandon the system right when it's about to start producing because they didn't know this phase existed. They thought something was wrong with them or their strategy. But this phase is universal. Everyone who builds meaningful income online goes through it. The winners are simply the people who expected it to exist and made a decision in advance to stay until it ended. Think of it as a period of significant input with minimal visible output. Your effort line goes up immediately and stays high, but the results line stays at zero for a long time before it starts to curve upward. That flat stretch, that gap between effort and visible return, is the invisible phase, and the only way out is through. Let me show you what the invisible phase actually looks like as a graph, because seeing it changes how you interpret your own journey. On this chart, the horizontal axis is time, weeks 1 through 12. The vertical axis is your results. Now watch. Your effort, shown as this top line, goes up immediately. You start working hard from day one. But the results line, this bottom line, it stays flat, close to zero, for week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Somewhere around week 6 or 7, you might see a tiny blip, a small sign that something is happening, but it's not consistent yet. Then around week 8 to 12, the results line starts to curve, slowly at first, then more steeply. That curve is the compound effect kicking in. All the work you did in those early weeks, the posts nobody saw, the offers nobody bought, the outreach that got ignored, that effort was building a foundation underneath the surface. And once that foundation is solid enough, the results catch up. Here's the takeaway. If you look at this graph and quit at week 4 or 5 because the numbers are still flat, you're making a decision based on incomplete information. You're interpreting silence as failure when it's actually just early. The invisible phase is not a sign that you should change your strategy. It's a sign that you need to keep executing until the compounding effect has had time to show up. So let's pull all of this together. There are 5 reasons most beginners never make money online, and none of them are about who you are as a person. They are gaps in information and strategy. Number 1, you're solving the wrong problem, focusing on feeling prepared instead of actually building something to sell. The offer is everything. Number 2, you're waiting for confidence instead of understanding that confidence follows action, never precedes it. Number 3, you're switching between models every few weeks and never reaching the 60 to 90-day window where compounding actually happens. Number 4, you have isolated tactics but no connected system. You need an entry point, a trust path, a clear offer, and a follow-up, all working together. Number 5, you don't know about the invisible phase, so you quit right before the results were about to show up. Every single one of these is fixable. They're not permanent flaws, they're just gaps in what you know. And now that you know them, you can choose to play the game differently. If you're ready to stop consuming and start building with a real system, the link below connects you to the templates and guides that help you stack the 4 pieces from scratch. Build the system, stay through the invisible phase. That is the path. We release new videos every week to help you build income that doesn't require trading every hour of your day for every dollar you earn. Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.